You would think that jealous people would kind of stay away. No, they involve themselves in your life. They need a front row seat to see what you're doing so they can siphon your energy. It's a spiritual parasite. That's what it is. It's spiritually parasitic. They're probably, of course, having fake profiles, looking at your stuff, looking to be offended. Yeah, I feel like what she said was about me. All these different things so they can continue to fuel whatever they started in their heads. Hey, angels. So today we're going to be talking about one of the most dangerous people that you'll ever encounter. This is not going to be your obvious enemy, but it's going to be the person who calls themselves your friend, the one who smiles in your face, they celebrate your wins, but just enough to stay close to you, but they secretly resent your success. But before we move on, I want you guys to make sure that you rate this podcast 5 stars, that you hype this video. If you're seeing it on YouTube, make sure that you hype the video. So when you go to the description, you should see that option. Also, if you like the video, I think it automatically enables the hype feature to be available. So that's why you better like the video. Okay. Now, moving along here, sometimes the betrayal that hurts the most, it doesn't necessarily come from strangers, right? It's going to come from people who had a front seat to your life. We all know this. Our biggest haters are never strangers. They are always the people that were the closest to us, which inevitably highlights the fact that it's the people that are closest to us that have the ability to hurt us the deepest and the most. So what exactly do we call this? Well, we're going to coin the term. Well, no, we're not coining the term, but the term has been coined as frenemy. What exactly is a frenemy? Someone that enjoys having access to your life, but they don't genuinely celebrate your growth, right? A frenemy is someone that is emotionally invested in staying close while they're quietly hoping that you stay beneath them. We've all heard that term that says, you want your friends to do well, but never better than you. Or you have met someone who feels they act on that sort of, they use that as a central quote of their life. Put it like that. You want your friends to do good or well, but never better than you. And that's why they compete with you. So there's always going to be signs. And speaking of signs, the subtle signs look like they're downplaying your accomplishments, or every compliment comes with criticism, or they disappear whenever good things conveniently happen to you, or they become energized when you are struggling. And they also, of course, compete with you. They're going to be copying your ideas, your style, your personality while they criticize yours. Isn't that quite hilarious? Under the guise of concern. We all had honestly, I don't even think I could deal with the term concern anymore, because I have survived a friendship before where every single thing was like, hey, like, I'm concerned about you. Or like, girl, like, why are you doing this? Like, I'm concerned. Like, and I remember thinking in my head, there's no way that I'm a cause for concern over yourself and the way you're living life. Quite frankly, you can't be talking about me. But you know what the concern is? The projection of you actually looking at me and seeing your own face somehow. And it makes sense why you're concerned, because you are looking in the mirror and you are seeing my face. And that's what a lot of people are doing. They're looking in the mirror and they're seeing your face. So why is it that people become a frenemy? Well, it's envy. It is insecurity. It's competition, it's a scarcity mindset, and then it's also unhealed wounds. So it's important to remember that jealousy doesn't always make people leave your life. Sometimes it makes them stay. And the psychological damage that you experience when you're going through a situation like that is absolutely insane. I mean, of course, you're going to begin to doubt yourself. You're going to think that you're crazy. You're going to be gaslighting yourself because you may overshare with the wrong people, right? You can shrink your success so that other people become comfortable. How many people have done that? And over time, you're going to notice that your confidence is slowly eroding. Because every time you experience something, you find that you don't want to tell them that much. So you want to edit how you're bringing the message across to them to try to make yourself seem small so that, hey, they kind of overlook it. But there are ways to protect yourself, okay? How do you protect yourself? Well, one, you have to stop telling everyone your plans. You have to learn the gift of discernment, okay? You have to watch their actions more than their words. You have to realize that sometimes you're gonna have to celebrate privately. Never, ever, ever confuse history with loyalty. People need to earn access into your life. And I used to be the type of person where I would give access and then you have to earn my mistrust, so to speak. I was that type of person where I would just give out my trust to any and everyone and then feel like, okay, well, if you show me that you're a bad person, because I didn't want to come across as jaded. But the older that I've become and the wisdom that I have incorporated, the issue with having that sort of mentality of just giving your trust to people and then them sort of it's working backwards. Put it like that. It's working backwards. And that's what I was doing a lot of the times in my life. And then now with having more wisdom and discernment, I can discern who I should trust and who I should tell what. And you know what the issue is that a lot of people have also? An oversharing problem. You want to tell everybody everything, and you're really innocently hoping that people are going to be happy for you or whatever the case is. And you would be hard pressed to realize that not everyone's going to share that with you. That's why you have also frenemies. I remember one time I was friends with this girl and I was talking to this guy at the time, and she was also talking to a guy at the time. Long story short, her relationship with that guy it just ended. It kind of didn't go anywhere. But I was still talking to the guy that I was talking to. And I'll never forget having this feeling intuitively that because my relationship dynamic was still continuing and hers wasn't, she started to shift her focus onto me and to nitpick at my own situation and tell me what she would and wouldn't do. Girl, what? Do you know your situation and that you're a whole mess and you just are a whole bunch of kaflam? So. And I'm not even going to get into more detail, okay? Because I'm just not even going to do it. But the nerve and the gut and the gall, the audacity, amongst many other things, was just very, very bizarre to me. And that's when I think I made the decision too of I'm going to start filtering what I say to this person. But I also want to let you know that that's no way to live. I remember another incident with the same person where I went out for New Year's and we were in the same place, and she liked, I guess, we both thought that this guy was, I guess, somewhat attractive, but I'm never going to fight over a guy. Like, it's just, you can have him, okay? I'm Mrs. You can have him. And I remember he liked me, like immediately he liked me. And she was letting me know, girl, oh my gosh, you already have someone that you're talking to. So let me talk to him. Like literally basically asking for my permission of, yes, he staked his claim on you, but you need to give him to me. And I'm like, now this puts me in an awkward position because clearly this guy likes me. And I'm going to go, hey, no, go to my friend that you clearly didn't choose. So then for the rest of the night, she did not speak to me, and she got drunk and was like kind of hazing, because hazing seems to be like, it was like her thing where she would haze people. And she was like being very like weird. The guy was a weirdo. So this is in no way in defense of that man. But it's out of respect for our friendship and what was. And I ended up having to be the one driving home that night. I had to drive her car home when she was the designated driver. And no matter how close I am with someone, like I don't want to drive anyone's car because it just is a liability just driving someone else's car. Like, I'm sorry, like that, you drive your own car. And also you should want to drive your own car. How about that? And so I just found myself feeling so uncomfortable at the situation because one, she ignored me because I guess she was upset that him and I ended up talking and she felt like she didn't have anyone. And that seemed to be at certain points in my life, a theme where, you know, someone has their own thing going on and then it stops and then they sort of fixate on what I got going on and they want to start sharing all their opinions and all these different things. Girl, I don't know. It's just a bunch of kaflum. But it just also went to show me that some people are so unhealthy, they don't know how to have a proper friendship. Friendship requires elasticity, especially in your adulthood. Friendship is going to require flexibility. You have to understand, people do have a life outside of you. Not everything is so personal. It's really not. If someone can't make it for something, You should never fearmonger your friends and make them feel like, oh my gosh, because I didn't show up for this one thing because I had something to do, or maybe I was really tired that, oh, she must not care about me, all these different things. Don't be that type of person where they don't feel comfortable being honest with you. Obviously, if there's an excuse in their mouth every single time you have something going on, then obviously you discern as you need to. But you can tell when you have that type of friend where everything that they do is a very big deal. And if you miss it, they're very vocal about cutting people off and all these different things. It just creates this hostile and toxic like feel where you're scared to tell them, I can't make it to this, or I can't make it. I remember another time I had a friend, unfortunately, the same friend. I have a million stories about this friend. And there was a storm and it was flooding in New York, and I had to drive to the person's house, and it was very unsafe. I mean, people I think some people like drowned in their cars and stuff because their cars got so like flooded and all the different things. I mean, what in the Noah's Ark, but this really happened. Like, hello, remember? And I remember I packed my stuff and I was on my way to like begin to drive. And I remember I texted her saying like, it's starting to rain really bad out here and it's flooding. And her response was, oh, well, you'll be fine once you get here. It's not raining where I'm at, but I'm coming from where I'm at. So I'm going to have to be concerned about if I can even make it there. Long story short, I'm the only one on the road. That's when I knew, oh, there's no one on the road but me. This is very concerning. How far can I get before I get stuck and something happens? Sure enough, that's what happens. It's pitch black. I get off of the highway and my car, the reason I got off on the highway is because my car started hydroplaning. And luckily I'm on the road alone. There's nobody on the road. And when I got off of the exit, of course I get off on an exit where there were barely any lights. I think it was like in Westbury or something like that, where I am in New York. And I remember thinking, God, if you please just get me home. Like, I promise, like I will not, I'm just going to try and go another day or something like that. Please, I just want to go home. And I just remember thinking in that moment of how disgustingly and disturbingly selfish this person has to be for their response to be, well, we good over here. So as long as you get here, was literally the vibe. Are you serious right now? Because all that mattered was what she wanted. And I found myself honestly sacrificing and I take part accountability of that dynamic. It was partially my fault that I was allowing that to happen to me, but I've never encountered anything so demanding, I guess, before. And so me being a very kind person, I was just struggling really to navigate through it. Now, needless to say, now in hindsight, praise him, I know a lot more and a lot better. I've grown in wisdom and also discernment. So now something like that, kaflum, will never, ever, ever, ever happen again. Do you understand me? So we're going to drop that right there. Next question. So I say all that to say, I'm sure there are stories we all can share for days. And if you have one, drop it in the comments. Yes, we're going to be reading it. And yes, we want to see how you traversed and survived through certain dynamics, because you would be shocked to hear the stories. I mean, this needs to be a Netflix show. Okay. Some people are very lucky that I don't hit up Netflix talking about surviving Yeah. Because I very much can. And it's just the wrong people will always have you feeling like you're crazy, like there's something wrong with you in the dynamic. And I just remember wanting to leave the friendship so much. I remember when I went down there one time, I had anxiety, like a full-blown anxiety attack, and I was crying, and I told one of my best friends, like, I don't want to go there. I really don't. In the end, it ended up working well. But the second day that I was there, we ended up getting into a huge blowout. And I had so much anxiety because I felt like she was just such a demanding person that I could barely unpack my things without her having some sort of activity or something else that she wanted me to do. So it almost felt like I had to like sneak around. This is, again, how I felt at the time. And I'm sure if you ask her, it's going to be different. Of course it is. I'm making it up. Yeah, right. Okay. It just felt like odd. I remember another time I wanted to step aside so I can go do something for work. And I remember I was passing her and she was taking a nap and she wakes up. Like, you know that scary sound that's like, she wakes up and she's like, where are you going? And I was like, oh, I was just gonna go do this thing for work. And she was like, no, you don't need to do that. We're about to leave soon. Oh, okay, mom. Like, what? Like, it just was this like honestly, Bellic-like spirit of just like control and manipulation. And it was just weird. And that's what these unhealthy individuals do. They're just weirdos. It's just the truth. And that's what happens when you have people that have so much unresolved trauma in their lives that they make it miserable when you enter into a friendship or anything with them. It becomes misery because you become everything to that person. You're their mom, their counselor, their boyfriend, their best friend, their cousin, their everything. They're putting everything on to you. And yeah, there are frenemies that exist like that because the second that you start to do your own thing, they take it personal. And that's exactly what happened in that dynamic with me, you know? Where these types of people, they will consume so much of you so that you do not have time to do your own thing. And then, of course, they take it personal when you do your own thing. Now, all of a sudden, they want to evaluate the friendship. They feel like they haven't heard from you. They feel like you've changed. They feel like they don't know anything about your life anymore. Monitoring spirits. And that's what frenemies are. If you want to wrap it up in a bow, hello, like, it's a monitoring spirit. They have to be, like I said in the beginning, you would think that jealous people would kind of stay away. No, they involve themselves in your life. They need a front row seat to see what you're doing so they can siphon your energy. It's a spiritual parasite. That's what it is. It's spiritually parasitic, okay? And it's a monitoring spirit that they need to have eyes on you. They're probably, of course, having fake profiles, looking at your stuff, looking to be offended. Yeah, I feel like what she said was about me. All these different things so they can continue to fuel whatever they started in their heads. That's what a lot of these people do. I'm telling you. And to be in a friendship that is so toxic like that, I mean, who needs enemies with friends like that? If it is not normal, ladies, I'm telling you, because some of you have had a lot of toxic friendships, it is not normal to constantly be competing with your friends. It is not normal that the second you can't attend an event or something like that for a friend, that friend goes and calls a list of you guys mutual friends to talk about how she thinks it's messed up that you didn't go to her event and you go to this and you do that. All of a sudden your friendship is now in the crossfire and being cross-examined. It just highlights that that's how they've always felt. They were just waiting for a moment. They were already mad you were adding something to that, or they're just a very controlling person where they have this spirit to them where, oh, it's a one and done. I am very one and done with some things, but not when it comes to stuff like that. Things happen. People's lives do not revolve around you, especially now in our 30s. Like, there are other things going on. People are married. People have children, engagements, baby showers, a lot. Some people are on their third kid right now for me in my life. Like, things happen and you're not going to be able to attend every birthday party and all the different things. It happens. And this is where you should be able to differentiate where your heart posture is and also differentiate your friend's intentions. Because a frenemy is always going to misinterpret what your intentions are. They're quick to villainize you, quick to demonize you. Oh, see, I knew it or whatever. But yet they're still involved in your life. They want to just complain to everybody but you and fake support you, but they don't want to leave your life. I'm sorry. I don't get it. If you don't like somebody, you don't like something, stop involving yourself with it. Just leave. Just go. Why are you continuing to stick around when you do not like this person? And then I realized, oh, wait, we have a whole culture of hate watchers. Same friend. I have a lot of stories. I don't know what's coming up for me today, but I remember when I spent the night, she would wake up on 10. Like, I am a very peaceful, quiet person in the morning. I need silencio, por favor, okay? Quiet. I don't want loud, hey, how, like, bring that energy a little bit later in the day. Like, I just need peace and quiet. And first thing she would do is wake up and she's scrolling on Instagram, right? Hate watching. Ugh. what is Kylie Jenner doing? Why would she even wear that? Girl, like what? Like, and it was just so exhausting to be around that. And a part of you may justify it of, oh, well, I see the good in them, all that. I saw it too, but it only lasted but for so long. They're just an unhealthy person. And I'm sure that the same exact thing that they would do with me, talking about this person, talking about that person. I even remember one time she had a party of sorts, right? Not going to get into the specifics. And she invited a couple people over, and one of the girls brought her PR as a gift. Now we're all influencers, right? So whatever, like, it's not like we know PR when it's PR. And it wasn't like, it was like, you know, for my birthday, she literally did the same thing. After she talked about that to me, she went and also did the same thing. So I think especially in that particular friendship dynamic, there was a lot of hypocrisy that was just, I couldn't digest it anymore. Like, it was very hard to digest, borderline impossible. So it was just like plastic. I mean, I don't even know what other word to give it. I don't have the language, okay? It was just so unbelievable. The Jekyll and Hyde and the straight hypocrisy and the constant monitoring and studying of other people and positioning themselves as though they were so different, but they weren't doing exactly those things. I mean, the level of blindness and spiritual blindness and lack of self-awareness that you have to operate in such a way. May God have mercy on your life. Truly, may God have mercy on your life. Because at the end of the day, no friendship is worth your peace. No friendship is ever worth you having anxiety over trying to figure out, oh my gosh, like, I'm so nervous to tell this person I can't go to their get together. They're in town and they want me to see them. You're interrupting my schedule. You came to my city, huh? I just feel like if I really meant a lot to you, you would make time. Well, may the chips fall where they lay, honey. If it's that fragile, let it break. I'm telling you this right now. If it is that fragile, let it break, all right? The same goes for opposite, gender friends, or even your boyfriend. If they have that frenemy, weird, competitive energy with you, where it's like you guys are butting heads for the attention, like you can feel this like sassy, like energy involved in the dynamic. He has ego, you're having ego, and he's competing with you. That's not a real man, ladies. You don't want to be with a man who's going to be matching your energy. Okay, sister, what's happening? You don't want someone that's going to do that. You don't want he's mad at you because you're mad at him. Okay, girl. So what are we going to do? Catfight. It's very ridiculous. Like the lengths that people will go. And also they're going to go far. When people lack awareness, and again, you don't know yourself, so you don't know what you're going to do, you become susceptible to things like this. Also, when you do not enforce boundaries within yourself, for yourself, and enforce them. I remember this story so vividly where Oprah Winfrey was talking about how she tried her first no on, I believe it was Stevie Wonder. And everyone knows, as Oprah says, that she loves the kids, and they know her income is pretty public. We know she does exceptionally well for herself. So people are constantly going to be reaching out. I'm your cousin. Oh, girl, I know you could help me, and it wouldn't even make no difference to you, all the different things. And they have this sense of entitlement that she had an obligation to helping them out because of her financial status. And she said that for the first time, she tried her first no on Stevie Wonder when he asked for a donation for some sort of charity, and she was like freaking out. And she said, he simply responded and said, okay, no problem. And she was really taken aback by his response because she thought, oh my gosh, like, that was it? He didn't really like blow up. He didn't cancel her. He didn't stop speaking to her ever again. He was just like, okay, no problem. And that's how your real friend should respond. Hearing you out. Okay, well, what happened? Like, is everything okay with you? Like, are you busy? Whatever. And you're not coming from a place of trying to source information so you can try and downplay it and down talk it and make it seem like, yeah, like you're trying to do the fake, nice, nasty thing. Okay. Where you're like, I just want to pretend like I care about the reason you're not coming, but I'm going to go yap on about this to another friend of ours and make you look stupid. yeah, she said to me that she couldn't make it because her cat, she had to drop him off at the groomer. And by the time this happened, whatever, like, girl, what? Like, who cares? Right? But you want to be concerned to that person's face. No, keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. People have to be more realistic about what it is to have a healthy friendship in your life. But also, if you lack that awareness, you're simply not going to have that. But however, in the Bible, in Proverbs 27 verses 6, it says, faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Also in Proverbs 4 verses 23, it says, above all else, to guard your heart. Another scripture, Matthew 10 verse 16 says, be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. And this places a lot of emphasis on the fact that discernment is not paranoia. God never asks us to distrust everybody, but he certainly does ask us to be wise about who has access to us. And for a long time, I struggled and battled with what exactly does forgiveness look like when it comes to trying to traverse through a betrayal or whatever, or me not wanting to be involved in someone's life anymore. Like, I've had enough. The statute of limitations has passed. Anytime you find yourself feeling relief after not involving yourself with someone, distancing yourself from someone, it tells you everything you need to know. Now, you can revoke access to yourself from certain people because that's about boundaries. It is important that we remember that just because you no longer speak to somebody anymore, first of all, it doesn't mean that there's beef. Please stop, ladies. Like, we are way too grown for there to be this feud. Please understand that two things can be true at once. Correct, I do not like you, but also there is no beef. It's very possible. It's very plausible. And it takes you have to have high emotional intelligence and the bandwidth to be able to understand those two things, two truths, at once, and understanding that dichotomy. I understand it's very polarizing, but at the end of the day, this is life. It happens. Things like this happen. And I think that needs to be more normalized in society where, okay, yeah, we didn't get along. After a while, we were great friends when it worked. It did not work anymore. Next question. Hello? So it's important that, especially as it pertains to forgiveness or all the different things, you don't have to continue for people to have access to you in the name of, oh, that showcases that you really forgive them. You don't have to give them access to you. Access denied. Me showcasing forgiveness also for me in my book doesn't mean that I'm gonna, Leah Black you and say, okay, how are you doing? No, I'm from New York, baby. Okay. I'm gonna keep it very authentic. And if I do not like you, I do not care about coming up to you and doing the whole schmooze and oh, how are you? How's everything going? How are the kids? I don't care. Respectfully, I really don't care. I'm not invested in your life in any capacity. So if I see you and we're in the same environment, again, if it ended amicably, that's a different thing. How are you? How's everything? Oh, love, respect it. It was good to see you, right? Genuinely. But if it was girl, enough, you know what you did. I heard what you did, all the different things. Let's just not speak. I don't need to roll my eyes at you. I don't need to give you a nasty look. I'm going to act like you don't exist. We need to normalize that. It doesn't have to be, I remember there was this girl that, of course, I fell out with. And what's interesting about this dynamic is it was not a bad ending of a friendship. It really wasn't. So I was pleasantly surprised. I don't even know if that's the correct word to use, really, to be honest with you. I was very surprised when I saw her in person. It's been a couple months and change or whatever. I don't know, a long time since we last spoke. And her demeanor towards me was horrible. And I was full send confused because I could tell that she has been definitely speaking ill of me because when I went to an event, there was a girl that she became close to, and I don't know who that person was or anything, or is. And that person was like sneering up at me, like very, you know what I mean? Just very nasty in her demeanor. And I remember thinking, I don't even know who this person is. Why are they being so weird to me? And then I realized, oh, this is like the new best friend or something. And I'm thinking, wait, but what could you have said about me that I did to you that you could convince someone else to dislike me this strongly? Like, you and I did not even end on a bad note. So like, what are you saying? And that's when I was like, all right, now that upset me because I'm not doing that to you. I'm not doing that to you at all. I'm not walking around talking about you, trying to slander your name. I literally am not reciprocating that energy to you. And so that is what did upset me about the dynamic. And then I saw her again and same thing, very nasty, and I full send was just like, what happened that you're actually this angry when I didn't do anything whatsoever to you? You were the bad friend to me. What happened? What has happened here? So things like that, they do tend to happen. But the important thing to remember is that you have to stand on your boundaries. Let your yes be yes. Let your no be no. The more times you want to yes someone all the time, you're going to feel like you are constantly stretching yourself too thin because you are. And you got to stop, babe. Okay? Because it's not looking good. That's why you're running yourself rampant. We've all been there. I'm guilty of that too. You know you can't go to that event. You know that you have something to do that day, but you can't get yourself to just say, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it, and be honest about it. You got to start with your first no, like what Auntie Oprah said. You have to start with your first no and start to practice that. And like a muscle, it will grow and you will be able to actually be honest and say, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it for this day, but I wish you the best, move on. That's what you'll be able to do. But some people also keep in mind your frenemy is always going to find a way to villainize you or demonize you for something, very much something, because they're very divisive in nature. And in order for them to succeed, they always have to utilize someone as an enemy. And that just happens to be you. So you have to learn how to starve these people and give them a bunch of dust and a bunch of nothing. So not everyone who supports you is necessarily for you, because access is a privilege. It is not a right. All right. And a jealous friend and an envious friend is more dangerous than any obvious enemy because they already know where you're vulnerable. And some people, yeah, they don't mind you succeeding as long as you never surpass them. And the loudest applause can come from the most sincere person in the room. But you have to pay attention to who celebrates your wins without making it about themselves. This week, don't ask yourself, who likes me? Ask yourself, who consistently brings peace, encouragement, and honesty into my life? Real friends are not going to compete with your calling. They're going to protect it. And remember this, that boundaries are not punishment. They are wisdom, okay? You have to remember, you have to exercise wisdom. So I want you to comment down a story that any one of us can, comment down a story to let us know how you survived a frenemy type of dynamic. You never know who you can be helping. Have you ever encountered someone that was a frenemy and you didn't realize it, obviously, until you look back? What was the first red flag that you missed? I would love to hear your stories. And of course, make sure that you hype this video up and that you like this video and that you rate the podcast 5 stars. With that being said, my loves, do not forget that I love you and God loves you. I'll speak to you, beautiful angels, in my next podcast episode. Mwah.